April 3rd seems to be the big day. We're getting a dual pass reset, new packs, system maintenance, and maybe even a brand new ban list. What's going on, guys? My name is Susu from HeadtoHead Battles, and in today's episode, I'm going to go over all the updates before the updates come out tomorrow and everything that you can do to prepare for these updates. If you guys like content like this, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Hit that notification down below and comment down below what you think about these updates after we go over them in this video. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, so we're going to start with all the unimportant stuff first. The ranking duel system, nothing has changed. Platinum 1 is still the highest rank. The next thing that I do want to talk about is the duel pass. It is resetting in 2 hours, which means by the time this video goes up, it's going to be about 30 minutes left on the duel pass. I highly recommend that you do get the duel pass because there will be free UR points that you can grab by finishing the duel pass. The duel pass is about 650 or 700 gems. I forgot what it was, but for the amount of UR points that you get and everything else that you do get in the duel pass, I highly do recommend it. And once it does reset, that's when you know we are getting major updates into the game. The next thing that I do want to talk about is the modifications on the daily rewards for the gems that you get for finishing the missions every single day. So they made it so that you do the missions less, but you do get more gems. Now, if you look on the screen here, it says duel and solo mode 3 times for 20 gems, and it got changed over to 3 times for 40 gems. But if you look, it says activate a spell card 5 times for 20 gems, but now it turns into 3 times for 40 gems, effectively giving you 20 more gems there. But for the trap card portion, you have 5 times for 20, but 2 times for 40, which is minus 20. So technically, they do end up evening out. But if you keep reading, it says if you destroy cards in ranked duels 5 times for 20 gems, now it's 5 times for 40 gems. So you do get a huge boost of gems there. And then when you win in ranked duel, you get 30 gems, but now you get 40. So as I talk about the modifications, you guys can read it on screen. So the daily modifications has been something that Konami and the player base have been going back and forth with. The player base wanting more gems for the missions that are being, completed throughout the day. And a lot of players were doing these gem hacks, quote unquote, because it's not really a hack where you don't receive all the gems, but you try to reset the missions that give you the most gems. I think this is Konami's answer for that, and I think they did a really good job. I think what they can do is by giving us more gems and reducing the amount of gems it costs to buy packs, but we don't know how far we are from there just yet, and we're not really sure how much Konami does love us, but it seems like they really do care about the game and are rolling out updates, whenever they can. So just be patient, guys. It's a brand new game. They're working on it. Okay, so the next thing that I do want to talk about is the new packs, okay? We are getting the Ruler's Mask and Beyond the Speed packs. In Ruler's Mask, we're getting big cards like Despion Queritus, the Iris Sword Soul, Starving Venomy Dragon, Misaya, and Dramaturge. And in Beyond the Speed, we're getting Baron de Fleur. And that's pretty much all you have to know, because I'm not really sure how many people are going to be playing Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon or Shooting Majestic Star Dragon. But here's the biggest issue. If Konami makes it so that you cannot craft these cards and you absolutely need to buy packs for these cards, I think there's going to be a really big uproar in the community. If you agree with me, let me know in the comment section down below, but I really don't think Konami's going to make that mistake of making these cards uncraftable, because there are some cards in structure decks in the game that are uncraftable and are locked behind this structure deck paywall. But as a competitive player in the TCG, these cards aren't going to be making that much of an impact in the game, except maybe Baron de Fleur. I wouldn't go dismantling cards to, craft Baron de Fleur, because 1, we don't know if it's craftable, and 2, you definitely don't need to be dismantling cards for this one singular card, because a lot of the decks already don't play it because they're not synchro based. And if you are playing a synchro based deck, you can already make this card, especially if you're playing a popular deck. So I don't recommend dismantling anything for Baron de Fleur, because 1, again, you don't know if you can craft it, and 2, if you are spending gems on it and you don't open it, you're SOL anyways. So I highly recommend that you wait until the updates do roll out before you make any decision with Baron de Fleur. And the final thing that I do want to talk about is how the meta will not shift even if we get new cards or if we get more ranks, right? Because if you really think about it, if we get 3 more ranks, the highest rank will now become the technically Plat 1, and the issues that are plaguing Platinum 1, the bots, Banquet of Millions, the FTKs, and meta players, none of that changes because they're going to be in the upper echelons of ranking. Just because they add more ranking doesn't mean that these players aren't going to be, or these bots aren't going to be, populating that upper echelon of rankings, right? So I really don't think adding more ranks into the game will fix the issues with bots and meta players. I think what needs to be done is, I think players who feel overwhelmed by the today's meta need to kind of take a deeper dive into the meta and learn the cards and just, technically, for the lack of a better phrase, is be better and understand the meta so that they can combat the meta even if they are playing rogue decks. Now, the next thing that I do want to talk about are these new cards. I don't think these new cards will be affecting the meta anytime soon, because if you weren't outing 3 negates anyways, you're not going to out a 4th negate in the form of Baron de Fleur or, any of the other cards that we are getting. Now, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to be getting entire archetypes, aka the Despia archetype, into the game other than the specific cards that we are getting. But I really don't think without the new cards that we are getting for Despias in the TCG currently, which means we're not going to get them in the Master Duels for a while, I don't think Despias are going to make that big of a splash and aren't going to be affecting the top meta spots of Platinum 1 or any rank above that one. Now, what I do think will affect the meta will be a brand new ban list. I think that Rongo and cards like Rongo that just essentially don't let you play the game are really toxic for the game. Now, I'm not including Herald of Ultimateness in here. I think Drytrons is a great archetype, and I think Ultimateness does deserve some recognition, but it's definitely not one of those cards where, it's Rongo where you simply don't get to play, right? Because a simple Kaiju does out Herald of Ultimateness, so does Forbidden Droplets and Dark Ruler no more, but these cards really don't affect, other decks and other FTKs and Banquet of Millions, especially with DD Dynamite. Now, I don't think Banquet of Millions is a card that warrants a ban per se, but I think Konami does need to make and address the issues of the bots that are essentially gem farming to sell gems to players, which I think is the main issue. And I don't think, banning cards out of an FTK are warranted either, because FTKs take time to build and to understand, and generally most decks at FTK do fold to a lot of hand traps, especially for the Ignite Hero FTK with Azulde. If you interrupt Azulde, the bots will concede, and if you do run a 13 card extra deck, the Banquet of Million bots will concede as well. And generally speaking, most meta players and most people who are trying to enjoy the game aren't going to be playing these decks anyways, so generally speaking, it is the bots that we do need to address, and I think Konami is big enough of a company to address those issues. Now, back to the topic of the ban list, I think the ban list doesn't have to be too large to be impactful, but I think banning 1 to 4 cards on the ban list will make the game much more enjoyable. But again, I do want to reiterate that a lot of people that are complaining about these overpowered cards are generally people who are newer to the game or returning to the game back from, a decade and a half ago. I think most meta players and most TCG players of today understand that these cards, have been in the game for a while and do know the answers to combat these decks. All right, guys, so that's it for me today. Make sure you stay subscribed, because once the updates do come out, I'm going to be doing another video which will come out probably pretty soon after this one, so make sure you guys are staying subscribed, and make sure to like the video so other people can see this video so that they know how to prepare themselves for the upcoming meta as well. And as always, make sure to comment down below if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said today, and I will catch you in the next one. This is Susu from Head to Head Battles, signing out.
What's up, guys? If you haven't subscribed, make sure to click that button right there in the middle.
Also, if you haven't watched that video that YouTube is recommending you, it's probably crazy, alright? Go watch it. This is Susu from HeadtoHead Battles,
Head to Head Battles,
signing out.